I can see.
We're going to have some room to spread out.
Yeah. If I'm going into hiding, I'm going to be comfortable, goddammit.
So the towers were put up where the wizards were fighting in the valley. They were like in the middle of the valley. Bam. Each group put up towers from the sea toward the middle. It's a very, I don't want to say confusing because it seems simple concept, but it was weird to me. They were each making a line of towers, like, facing each other, right?
Yeah, they were each in line and pointed at each other.
Like, fuck you, we're building a tower over here.
The way I picture it is that you could start a spell at the tower furthest towards the sea, and then that would shoot your spell towards the next tower, which could amplify it, towards the next tower until it gets to the middle, and it was like...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just way crazy extreme amounts of power, and then it would shoot it or explode or do whatever it was to do. They didn't set up towers like we would think defensively across from each other.
Yeah.
They're pointed at each other.
Yeah.
Like two barrels of a gun. Well, two barrels of two guns anyways.
Yeah.
But in the middle, there's that empty spot, and that's where people could kind of sneak through.
But it's funny because they were racing each other to finish this because they got to the middle and neither one could finish because they both got there at like the same time.
Yeah.
So it was like a battery that the magic just doesn't work.
Yeah, and you can't continue on past the other side's towers because they could fucking kill you that way.
So it's funny to me to imagine the wizards like seeing the other tower being built and be like, fuck you. I'm gonna put this brick here.
It had to have been reactionary because if they had thought about it from the very beginning, they would have known that neither one of them would be able to finish their line of towers.
That's the other thing. It's a very crazy mathematical because nobody knows how far apart they are or how many there are. But they both just happened to be that fucking close to the last one that they couldn't finish.
It was desperate at the time, and I think that's what is the important part here, that they weren't necessarily thinking long-term. They were just kind of thinking beat the other guys for right now, because it was such a wild fucking war.
Yeah. Just, focus on the minute right now that you have.
That's right.
And you know what we have a minute for right now, I think?
Beer?
Yeah!
Fantastic.
I think it's time for the beer break. So today we are drinking from Evil Twin Brewing, the Pink Lemonade IPA. It's an India Pale Ale with lemon and raspberry. And it's pretty good. I've been drinking it. And I like it. It's 7%. It's a little like tart.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more lemon than there is raspberry.
There's a person on the front of this can, and I don't know who it is, but it's a fairly good beer. I will say, I think we had the original, I don't know if it's original or whatever, but the lemonade IPA that's not pink from the same place the other day, and I think I like the pink better.
This one?
Yeah.
I think disagree. I think I like the other one better.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is weird, because raspberry.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think the lemon is different, and I think that's kind of what's throwing it for me. I'm not saying it's bad. I still enjoy it. But yeah, no, I think I'm opposite you. I think I like the other way around.
Different strokes. Different strokes.
Different strokes, alcohol.
Different folks, different strokes.
Yeah, sure. Close enough.
Different strokes for different folks. Got there in the end, guys.
No.
We'll be back right after this.
And we are back. So, each of these towers is made with the life force of many wizards. It doesn't say how many exactly, but it did make me think kind of the Great Wall of China.
Oh.
As far as I know, and I could probably look this up before I say it on a podcast, but I'm not.
But we're going fast and loose on this, babe.
I believe that when the wall was being built, the people were being made to do it under pretty extreme conditions. And that if somebody couldn't continue to work on the wall and they fell in, then they just stayed in.
I believe I remember things about people being in the wall from one thing or another.
And so I imagine that this was much the same way. Like, they didn't need to have the bodies in there for the specific construction of the tower, but it was like these guys had to die as a sacrifice for the magic.
Yeah, put their life force towards it, like the sisters with the death and the dying.
With the death and the dying and such.
You know, it makes sense.
But they had to do that, and they had to do it willingly.
Yeah.
Is the major difference.
Yeah.
That the people who built the Great Wall of China may not have had a choice. These were wizards building a magic tower that knew, okay, I have to get to this part, and then I have to, like, either jump into it or jump off of it or something to that effect.
Yeah. So
the magic will work, but I'll be dead.
On one hand, you could look at it like valiantly, like they were trying to defend their people, and they were like, you know, I gotta kill myself to pass on the magic and defend some shit and kill those other wizards. Or you could just think of it like, fuck those guys, we're gonna build this wall. This tower's gonna go up so much quicker. Fuck you, I'm gonna kill myself for this. Like, not like, you know.
For the cause.
For the cause.
Yeah.
For fuck you cause.
But what's interesting here is that they are not saying, oh, that side did this one thing and this side did another thing. Both sides were doing this.
Yeah, that's what's funny.
Both sides were having all of the same thoughts. Yeah. And we're like, we're on the right side, which is something that has been spoken about in these books before. Everybody believes that they are right, and that's what makes them so dangerous.
Dangerous.
And everybody believes that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really defend your point correctly if you don't really believe in it.
You guys are fucked up. We're going to kill you. Also, that might have been our fault, but we're still going to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have a good point, but fuck you anyways.
That's how I win all of my arguments. Yeah, fuck you, man. I win. Bye.
So there is really apparently no way or no documented knowledge of how many towers there is on either side, which is weird. I get that people don't want to get too close to them, but I feel like you could take a horse and just, like, take a ride one way or the other and count them.
Here's my thing. They're on a small strip of land in between two, essentially, oceans, right?
That's what they said. Maybe it's larger than what we're thinking, but I still think it's smaller than the expanse of, like, the New World, which we know isn't actually that big.
Well, I'm thinking that if it's between two oceans, then we're looking at something akin to an hourglass shape of land.
Right.
So if they were in the middle, started on the outside, and started building towers towards each other, this is a relatively narrow strip of land they're doing that on. Mm-hmm. So is it just that people don't want to get close? Because there could be 2 or 3, because they're certainly not like 20, 30. Like, it's a small strip of land. They're not miles and miles and miles apart.
Yeah, I don't know. The mystery around it is a little bit weird, considering that it doesn't seem to be that large of a land. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's bigger than we think, but there should have been some way of, like, I'm just gonna ride and check it out. You know what I mean? Somebody should have gone on an investigative journey at some point, I would think.
Yeah, you know, it could even be that somebody had tried, but you're too close to the towers and something got you.
Yeah, if you see it, then you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But Richard does ask why they haven't been destroyed yet, and she's like, well, they were made with subtractive and additive magic, so we're all just
They're
shit
just
out of
here
luck.
now. Yeah.
That's just how it is. So, shut up.
Well, it's not really even an option for them. These ancient wizards had so much more power than they do nowadays. And I say nowadays like it's nowadays. This in and of itself is a long time ago. But even Zed, who's the most powerful person we know of right now, had little compared to these wizards did. It kind of blows my mind to think about that a little bit, because Zed made the fucking boundary. He was fucking around with the underworld and a weird space that was in between both worlds in the world of life. And he did that. And he is nothing compared to these guys.
But he even admitted that when he did that, he was fucking with shit he didn't even understand.
He doesn't even know how he did it.
Yeah, he was just reading a book and he was like, that looks good. Let's try it.
Like a firework. I don't know, man. I just flicked my lighter and all of a sudden, bang, it was there.
Yeah.
I want to give him more credit than that. That feels too cheap for Zed.
I mean, I'm sure he read the instructions at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're sitting there and they see like these clouds ahead of them. And Richard asks, what are we going to be able to expect once we are in this magical gap thing?
It's a magic storm of probably death. So, that at least.
She lists off like a ton of stuff though. Like there's death and desire and pain and sadness and joy, and just depends on which bubble you run into.
Cool. So let's get going.
Yeah.
He gets his horse going right into this place. Verna, she's just sitting and waiting. He turns around, unafraid, because he knows he's not being rescued. And he doesn't have Kaelin, he doesn't have Zed, so if I die in here, fuck it. So he asks Verna what she's waiting for, and if she's waiting for courage, and she's like, yeah, motherfucker, this is some scary shit. I know I'm telling you how little you know about magic, and I'm going to be your teacher, in effect, for right now, until we get to the palace, but I am scared shitless right now, and that's a smart frame of mind to be in. Because this is serious.
And, I mean, she did tell him earlier in the chapter, we didn't really mention this, but she had seen people the first time she had gone through there that had been lost in there. Like, she saw them wandering around in there. So there's people, like, in these clouds just chilling.
Which would be fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Being like, oh, fuck, Janet.
Well, they have to be asking for help. Hey, do you know where I am? Which way is out? Can you help me? It's like, no, you're in the magic. I have to get away from you.
Either that or they're like, I don't know, they're like wrapped up in their own shit and they're just zombies wandering around.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, Verna is not as ready to be lost as Richard is because he claims he already is.
Yeah, but not the same way, though.
Yeah, no, he has no idea.
I could definitely imagine Verna turning towards him and be like, don't get cocky, dude, because if you get caught up in this, it's going to be really sad.
Yeah, you're depressed now. You think about how depressed the people who love you would think if you were just, like, wandering around. You're the chosen one. Chosen one just wandering around in clouds. No, chill out.
That's a super great prophecy. But that does it for this chapter. It was, I think, only 15 minutes on the Audible. Lets you know where Richard's at. Though pretty much stirs up more questions than answers, really. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to let us know by rating it and reviewing it or sending us an email at podcastatt@gmail.com. If you didn't like it, don't do those things. Well, you should email us. You should email us and let us know. You can find us on Facebook by searching all the things. You can find us on Instagram at podcastatt. You can find us on Twitter at podcast_ATT. If you wanted to, you could send us a text or a voicemail by calling 616-259-0025. And if you wanted to be extra cool, you could check out our Patreon page. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you real soon.
Bye!